He didn't vanish to rest. He didn't celebrate. He didn't heal. The moment Outlander ended, Sam Wan turned and walked straight toward Everest, fully aware that he might not come back alive. No one saw it coming. When the final chapter closed, the world expected him to finally exhale, to slow down, to savor the reward after years of emotional and physical depletion. Instead, he made a choice so extreme, so perilous, that even those closest to him were left in stunned silence. While fans were still mourning the end of the series, Sam quietly disappeared. Not to a beach, not to Hollywood meetings, but to the most unforgiving mountain on Earth. This wasn't a heroic fantasy or a carefully staged publicity move. There were no cameras trailing him, no dramatic soundtrack, no headlines waiting at the summit, just thin air, brutal cold, and the very real possibility of death. And that's what makes this story unsettling. Everest wasn't a victory lap. It was a warning sign. After years of living inside a character shaped by survival, violence, devotion, and loss, Sam didn't walk away untouched. Finishing Outlander didn't bring closure. It cracked something open. Friends noticed the silence, the distance, the restless energy that never seemed to settle. Sam has since admitted that when the cameras stopped, he didn't feel relief. He felt hollow, disoriented, like he had been holding his breath for years and suddenly didn't know how to breathe on his own. So he chose the one place where pretending isn't possible. On Everest, fame doesn't shield you. Your body doesn't care who you are. The mountain strips everything down to instinct: breathe or collapse, move or freeze. Sam wasn't chasing danger for a thrill. He was confronting something darker, the fear that staying still might destroy him faster than risking his life. As he climbed higher, the silence grew heavier, the air thinner. Every step demanded more than strength. It demanded honesty. There were moments when exhaustion blurred into despair, when pain became constant, and when the thought of turning back felt like both failure and survival. Sam has spoken about nights when sleep wouldn't come, when the wind tore at his tent like a living thing, and when the reality of how alone he truly was finally settled in. Up there, he wasn't Jamie Fraser. He wasn't a global star. He was just a man pushed to the edge, physically, emotionally, forced to face everything he had buried during years of relentless work. And here's the part that shocks people most: Everest didn't break him. It exposed him. What Sam found on that mountain wasn't triumph. It was clarity, the realization that strength doesn't always look heroic, that endurance leaves scars, and that walking away from a role that defined you can hurt more than anyone expects. When he came back, something had shifted. He spoke less. He chose his words carefully. For the first time, he let the world see that behind the image of resilience was a man who had been fighting quietly for years. This isn't an adventure story. It's a reckoning. And once you hear what Sam Wan faced on Everest, what he confronted after Outlander ended, you'll never look at him the same way again. Sam Wan tells the shocking story of his dangerous climb after finishing Outlander. No one expected it. Not the fans, not the producers, not even the people who thought they knew him best. Just weeks after wrapping one of the most emotionally and physically demanding chapters of his career, Sam didn't celebrate with luxury trips or Hollywood parties. He packed a bag, left comfort and certainty behind, and walked toward one of the most lethal places on the planet. This wasn't about headlines. It wasn't about proving anything. What he did after Outlander ended stunned even those closest to him, because this journey wasn't about fame or adventure. It was about survival, mental, emotional, and physical. For nearly a decade, Sam lived inside Jamie Fraser's skin. He carried war, love, brutality, sacrifice, and loss season after season. People often talk about how Outlander changed his career. Few talk about what it cost him as a man. The endless filming days. The punishing physical scenes, the emotional extremes that didn't simply switch off when the cameras stopped. By the time the final episode wrapped, Sam wasn't just tired. He was emptied out. And that's where Everest entered the picture. Most actors decompress in silence. Sam did the opposite. He chose altitude sickness, freezing winds, and the constant threat of death over rest. Friends warned him. Advisors questioned him. Fans had no idea, but Sam felt something pulling him forward, something raw, frightening, and honest. He later admitted that after Outlander, he didn't recognize himself anymore. Everest wasn't about conquering a mountain. It was about finding himself again. The decision wasn't dramatic. There was no big announcement, no heroic moment. Just a quiet realization that staying still felt more dangerous than moving forward. I needed to feel small again, he said later. And Everest, indifferent to ego and reputation, offered exactly that. The climb was brutal from the first step. Thin air, relentless exhaustion, sleep deprivation, a silence so deep it felt unnatural. There were no fans, no cameras, no safety net. Up there, your name means nothing. The mountain doesn't care who you are. Every step becomes a negotiation with pain and fear. And the fear was real. There were moments when his body demanded he stop. Moments when he questioned whether years of pushing himself through Outlander had left warning signs he'd ignored. Stripped of distraction, emotions surfaced: grief, anger, relief, and an unexpected sense of freedom. One night, as temperatures dropped dangerously low, Sam sat alone in his tent, listening to the wind slam against the fabric like a warning. He later said it was more terrifying than any scene he had ever filmed. There was no script, no second take, no guarantee of safety, just his breath and the knowledge that he might not return. That's when it hit him. For the first time in years, he wasn't performing strength. He had to be strong. On Outlander, pain has an endpoint. On Everest, pain is constant, unpredictable, and personal. Sam has said that every step felt like shedding layers, of Jamie Fraser, of expectations, of the image the world had built around him. The higher he climbed, the quieter everything became. Not just the world outside, but the noise inside his own mind. He wasn't chasing a summit photo. He's been careful not to romanticize the climb. He's spoken about watching other climbers turn back, injured or broken, and realizing how thin the line is between courage and recklessness. He's spoken about the sobering truth that Everest isn't a metaphor. It's a place where people die, often quietly, often forgotten. And that awareness changed him. When Sam finally began his descent, he didn't come back triumphant. He came back clearer, with a deeper respect for his limits, with a renewed understanding of why he acts, why he tells stories, and why leaving Outlander was never going to be simple, no matter how prepared he thought he was. In interviews afterward, fans noticed the difference. A quieter confidence, less need to explain himself, less urgency to chase the next big thing. Everest had stripped away the noise. It reminded him that his worth isn't measured by ratings, characters, or public approval. And maybe that's the most shocking part of all. While the world expected Sam Wan to ride Outlander straight into non-stop Hollywood momentum, he chose something far more dangerous, stepping away to face himself. Everest wasn't an escape. It was a confrontation.